Hi, I am Sunny Joseph, a clinical psychologist based in Bangalore. As parents, we are all curious and worried about our children. Every milestone in their lives brings a lot of joy in our lives. Isn't that true? Something very joyful happened to us recently. Our daughter, Eleanor, started reading at the age of 10 years. Yet, interestingly, over the last 10 months, during these COVID days, she read close to 100 books. How did this happen? In this video, I would like to share what is it that we have done as parents for her to pick up reading as her number one hobby. I'm sure you will find this video very useful. So, make sure to watch this till the end. Our daughter studies in standard 5 now. Right from her first standard, we received complaints from her teachers. On every PTM, there was a feedback that she was not reading at all. Though we did not get a formal evaluation, as a clinical psychologist, I did observe her reading skills and ruled out typical features of dyslexia, the reading disability. So we decided to try out something conscious so that she would start reading. Our intention was to try certain techniques at home as well as outside. Yes, I do believe parenting is no longer subconscious or automatic. The first thing we did was regular library visits. We upgraded our British Library membership. Along with our daughter, myself and my wife Naislin visited this library once in 2 weeks, especially on a Sunday. On every visit, we would spend close to 45 minutes to 1 hour looking for and selecting books for ourselves, and Eleanor was free to be around. Initially, she would just walk around and spend some time in this beautiful area meant for children with a couple of colorful bean bags and books. And she started enjoying this. Within a couple of weeks, she started asking for more such visits. Next, we started borrowing books for her. Our membership card allowed us to take up to 8 books at a time. In spite of the fact that she was not reading, we made sure to borrow at least 1 book for her. As they were colorful and had a lot of pictures, she was happy to carry them home as we returned. She also liked the idea of going around and selecting books, and of course interacting with the staff who she was familiar with by then. She used to take care of all the formalities like returning the books, scanning them and issuing them against our card, of course by then. Over time, we increased the number of books we borrowed for her. Library visits were followed by a visit to a nearby bookstore, Blossom, on Church Street. Yes, we live in Bangalore. Blossom is an old bookstore that is unique, with a huge collection of old books. And what is interesting, they take the books back and return up to 50% of the money that you've spent. And somehow this worked out very well for us. Therefore, on every visit, we bought a couple of books. This is a habit we continue even today. And that's exactly why this is one of our most favorite spots in Bangalore. And of course, there was an element of entertainment. We would typically have our lunch or coffee after these visits, go for a walk in the nearby area, or even spend some time in a park nearby. This was very intentional. We wanted to make these visits more enjoyable, and we realized that Eleanor liked every bit of it. In fact, she started reminding us of the approaching weekend. That was indeed a good time, well spent with the family. Similarly, we tried a couple of things at home as well. We converted her storytelling time into more of a reading time. We were conscious of the speed at which we read out stories to her, as she was holding the books in her hands. And we made sure we used the same books that she chose from the library or from the bookstore. Secondly, we had a reading time meant for everyone at home. We were all supposed to read on our own, including her, and at this time we noticed she used to go through the same books that we have already read out to her. At least she could go through the pictures. And finally, we ensured to remind her to go through the same books a couple more times before we went back to the library. And finally, we made sure she had some time to get bored. Especially when we were busy with our work, we did not care much whenever she said she was getting bored, because the instructions were very clear. She had to manage her time, and she was free to engage herself in any creative work like reading, painting, drawing, coloring, craft work, etc. And at some point in time, she did pick up reading. And we do not have a TV at home. Yes, this was a conscious decision we took more than a decade ago when my wife was pregnant. But we do have our time watching some movies and some interesting programs with internet and a projector being around. And when Corona happened, Eleanor was very happy to have picked up reading just a couple of months ago. She spent most of her time reading. In fact, she read close to 9 or 10 books a month. Though she had a good collection by then, that was not sufficient, so we went around collecting and borrowing books from some of our friends. We did have some books home delivered from Blossoms as well. Let me conclude. So if you want your child to pick up reading as a hobby, let there be some careful planning and a little bit of experimentation, because it is important that we find out what works better for your child. Teach your child necessary skills required for reading and make reading an enjoyable activity. Finally, have patience. Children do take time to pick up a hobby. Hope you enjoyed this video and found this useful, considering the importance of this topic. And there are many parents out there who would benefit from this video. Make sure to share this with everyone. And if you are someone who look forward to videos like this, kindly subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for your time and support. Thank you.